Hello and welcome to Hope from the Edges. I'm Andy Roberts, Mission Director for CMS. In the next few minutes, we'll bring you inspiring news from three edges in our world, stories you are making possible through your gifts and prayers. Our first stop is in the Middle East, where a courageous woman has chosen to follow Jesus despite huge risks. Then we go to the DR Congo to hear how hundreds of baptisms have taken place in areas of violent conflict. Finally, we spend some time in a community shed in Cumbria, where a group of people have begun meeting regularly for cuppers, conversation and carpentry, and for some, faith has been built too. We begin in the Middle East with the story of Mariam, whose name has been changed for security reasons. Now I need to tell you that some parts of Mariam's story might be upsetting to some viewers. Mariam grew up in Syria, in a strictly observant Muslim household. Mariam's mother removed her from school at age 15 because she disapproved of the fact that her daughter had Christian friends. Hoping to escape the confines of her home life, Mariam agreed to get married, but her husband was abusive, and Mariam had even less freedom than before. When the civil war in Syria began, Mariam, her husband and their children became refugees in Lebanon. Mariam says,
"In Lebanon, we lived in a dirty, windowless place, with rats and mould that made us ill. We had very little electricity, and it was cold. I was not allowed to leave the house, and my husband used to beat me."
A neighbour noticed the family's circumstances and told Mariam about a place she could go to for help. That place turned out to be a church. In addition to providing practical help with food and other basic necessities, the church members also prayed for Mariam and gave her a Bible, but her husband forbade her from reading the Bible, saying it was full of lies. Yet Mariam found the Bible irresistible. As she read it in secret, she felt God speaking to her. And one day she prayed and decided to follow Jesus. When Mariam's husband found out about her new faith, he became violent and told her she needed to choose between Jesus and her family. He took the children with him back to Syria, and this broke Mariam's heart. Still, Mariam refused to give up on her faith. She prayed and asked Jesus to help her carry this burden.
"I love my children. They are my whole world. Yet when they were taken away, God used me."
Mariam started serving with her church, and she connected with a CMS partner who trained her and equipped her to follow her calling into mission. Today, Mariam helps disciple children and young people, and she leads a thriving ministry among dozens of Kurdish women who meet together in house churches. Not long ago, Mariam was also miraculously reunited with her daughter. You can read more about this amazing turn of events on the CMS website. Today, Mariam says,
"For a long time I was by myself. It was very hard, but the Lord was my backbone, which made me not give up and lose hope. When I talk to women, I tell them that they need to trust the Lord because He will take them through the pain. My message is that you need to allow Jesus to come into your life because He will give you joy, so don't give up."
Mariam's story is a moving reminder that Jesus never gives up, neither should we. Now let's go to the DR Congo, where CMS mission partner Martin Gordon, Bishop of Goma, has reported on remarkable things happening in two key areas, Masisi and Walikale. We'll begin in Masisi, which has been on the front line of the conflict between the Congolese government and the Rwandan-backed M23 rebels for the last 3 years. Despite the intense suffering this conflict has wrought, Bishop Martin reports that months ago, 93 new followers of Jesus were baptised and 60 more were baptised on Christmas Day. This took place in Musangati, where the church has got so full services need to take place outside. The other area is Walikale, which is located so far deep into the Congo forest that it can take 3 days to get there. The Archdeaconry hadn't had a visit from a bishop in 30 years until Bishop Martin decided to go last summer. The remoteness of Walikale means that it's still considered pioneering territory for the gospel. The main purpose of Bishop Martin's visit was for a week of teaching on growing healthy churches and to share Jesus. At the end of the week, over 500 people had given their lives to Christ. More than 100 had been baptised and 200 confirmed. At the closing service, Bishop Martin and colleagues commissioned 98 evangelists and 9 church leaders. Since that summer visit, God has been powerfully at work. Many people are turning to Jesus, including village chiefs and former witch doctors. One young man testified, "My heart was touched. I trembled and almost collapsed when the preacher preached the good news. I quickly came to meet Jesus. I was a witch doctor. I sacrifice my life and the health of my family members to the ancestral gods, but glory to God through Jesus Christ. I am a Christian, saved and ready to serve him. Last but certainly not least, we know Christmas seems like ages ago, but we wanted to show you some of the fantastic handmade items crafted by people who are part of the community shed in Carlisle. CMS mission partner Gary Irons serves at the community shed and tells us that about 30 men and women are now regularly joining in for carpentry workshops as well as conversation and pastoral care. Many of the people who come to the shed have struggled with addiction or mental health issues. The shed is a safe space to meet new friends, ask questions about faith, and study the Bible together for those who want to. Over time, Gary says he's seen people trust in Jesus and grow in faith thanks to this community. Over the winter, there's also community space in the evenings. This is a warm space adjoining the shed where people come for a more in-depth chat, cuppa and access to indoor games, including table tennis, pool and darts. Let's give thanks for Gary and others from Carlisle Diocese who have developed this space where people who might not feel comfortable in traditional church are finding friendship and faith. Thank you for joining me for these stories from the edges and for your prayerful support, which makes them possible. Please share this video with your church, small group, or anyone you think could use some fuel for their faith. So until next time, we are so grateful for your gifts and prayers as together we go, with Jesus, with each other, to the edges.